And hello and welcome and prepare to be assimilated. It is Star Trek Sunday and we are all about the Borg today. Look who's with me, as always.
It's Heresy Georgeson, or today you can call me Detmer.
Absolutely rocking it with the Detmer cosplay there and loving the shirt.
Thank you. Yes, I was hoping it would have arrived in time for last week when I was Tilly, but it didn't. So I thought I'd have to wear it today, and so I'd have to do a different character. So you've got Detmer because Ginge.
Definitely rocking the Detmer. It's an augment, isn't it? That Detmer has.
Yeah. So it's. I assume that she had some sort of eye injury, and so she had an implant. An augment put in, or it's just to enhance her vision or something. I don't really know. I haven't got to a point where they explain it fully, but it is some kind of augment. Yeah.
Neither have I. I'm assuming it's resulting from an injury from the Battle of the Binary Stars.
Yeah, because she doesn't have it in the mirror universe.
No, nor does she have it in. Yeah, she's on the Shenzhou, so yeah. Yeah. Cool. Anyway, absolutely rocking it. So today's episode is an exciting one, as Ben says. Yeah, a Swedish episode today. But we will be looking at I know Kira's very excited, the Voyager episode Scorpion, parts 1 and 2. So 2 for the price of 1 today with your episode reviews.
And then we'll be doing a deep dive on the Borg themselves.
We will be visiting the Divine Treasury for something Borg-related.
And then we'll be finishing off with the latest Star Trek news.
Yay! So, oh my goodness. Well, it's all been happening this week in the news. We'll be coming to that later. In fact, we'll be having a bit of a question to ask the audience as well for something going forward over the next 10 weeks, but we will see. So, shall we start with the review? Because I'm waffling now.
Let's do it. I'm literally chomping at the bit to get into this because it's my favourite two-parter ever. So let's do it.
Fantastic. What, even better than Best of Both Worlds?
Yeah.
Oh, brave choice. Okay, so Voyager Scorpion Part 1 was first aired on the 21st of May 1997.
I was 3.
Okay. It was, very appropriately, the last episode of Season 3. Then that means you and Voyager are the same age.
Yeah.
Have we mentioned this on the show previously?
No, I don't think we have.
That's we've mentioned your age and we've talked about Voyager and how old it is, but wow.
Yeah, there is a bit of overlap. I feel like I'm slightly older than Voyager because everyone's been talking about it. You know, the 25th anniversary is last year and they missed it because of COVID. And I'm 27, so I think I was a year old when it first aired.
Right. That sort of makes sense because the part 2 aired also in 1997. That was the first episode of season 4. So yes, a year older. Gosh, okay, so you are older than something. I'm waffling again. Right, I'm just going to stick to the script now because, apologies to our viewers. I'm having one of my ME days, and it causes me to waffle apparently. So yes, part 2 aired 3rd of September 1997 and was the first episode of season 4. Now other things were happening in the Trekverse. This was at the time when DS9 was running concurrently with Voyager, and the episode Empok Nor aired 2 days before Scorpion Part 1. 2 days after that, First Contact premiered in Sweden. And I wonder if they left that joke in from Alfred Woodward.
What joke?
Borg sounds Swedish.
Oh.
I wonder if they left that in for the Swedish audience.
I bet they loved it. I bet they did leave it in.
Yeah. A few days... So the day after it... 6 days after it aired, is when they submitted the final draft of the script for Part 2. So they hadn't even finalised the script when it aired Part 1. I love hearing little things like that. And Part 2 started the first day of filming on the 27th of May. Later on, in September, when you get Part 2 airing, or slightly later on in the month, is when Deep Space Nine Season 6 aired. So it was all going on. It was a great time to be a Trekkie, as it is today, with so many series going on.
Absolutely. So in Part 1 of this epic two-parter, still on its journey home, Voyager enters Borg space, only to find the Borg collective, well done, Keira, collective on the losing end of a desperate war against a biotechnical race designated as Species 8472. While investigating a defeated Borg armada, Harry Kim becomes infected with a brief, close contact with an 8472, an infection that starts to eat him alive from within. Janeway turns to her Leonardo da Vinci holodeck program for inspiration and devises a risky plan to book safe passage through Borg space by working together with the Borg to defeat Species 8472. As they begin negotiations, Species 8472 attacks. And then after the hiatus, we come back into season 4 with Part 2 of Scorpion. And to facilitate the uneasy Voyager/Borg alliance, the Borg assigned 7 of 9 as their tertiary adjunct of Unimatrix 01 to communicate with Captain Janeway and Tuvok in development of a weapon against Species 8472. Meanwhile, as the Doctor's modified Borg nanoprobe successfully attack Harry Kim's alien infection, Kes continues to experience a psychic link with 8472 that gets ever stronger and ever more frightening. Through her, Species 8472 learns the purpose of the Alliance and attacks again, thereby changing the setup of the Voyager/Borg Alliance, the command of Voyager, and each side's plan of action.
We've had a number of comments in the chat. Captain Quinn wants to know, Keira, have you heard of Bjorn Borg?
That rings a bell.
Famous tennis player.
Yeah, I have heard.
He now apparently does tennis commentary for the BBC. Yeah, and Ben wonders if someone's done a Borg Bjorn Borg, perhaps in cosplay. But do you know what? There was a joke in BoJack Horseman about that. Baby Bjorn Borg was an outfit worn by Diane Nguyen. Yeah, if you like BoJack Horseman, which I do, rewatching it at the moment, it's brilliant.
I've tried watching it, and I couldn't really get into it. But I'll give it a go. Maybe I'll look up that scene.
Baby Bjorn Borg. There we go. Fantastic. So, I mean, we know it's your favourite two-parter now. It is good. The more I rewatch it, the more I enjoy it. I did say to Keira off air that I struggled a little bit with kind of the forced nature of Seven being brought in to replace Cass. But at the time, it's a good episode. And I like the Borg. I think they're a good adversary.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I do feel that it was wrong what happened to Jennifer Lean when they, just axed her basically. But I love how 7 of 9 is brought into the show. I just wish that they hadn't made it so obvious that they were axing Jennifer Lean for Jerry Ryan. And I feel like if they could have kept Cass on longer, maybe they could have had some sort of relationship going on, because I feel like it would have been nice to have some more overlap with them on the show at the same time, and then have a better farewell for Cass. I never really liked Cass as a character. She was always a little bit vanilla for me. Like, she's very boring. And I feel like her potential was wasted quite a lot. And perhaps if they'd thought it through a bit better, the introduction of Seven of Nine to the crew could have, spiced up Cass's character a little bit. But obviously, I was 3 at the time, so there's no way I could have done anything about
it. Whereas I wasn't. I was old then. My goodness.
You were probably about my age then.
Oh gosh, how old was I in 97? I was 24.
No, you're younger than me then.
I was younger. It's hard to believe that I was younger than you are now once. But yeah, gosh. In fact, I posted a photo in our Discord in the general chat from 16 years ago from a play I was in.
Wow.
My goodness, I've changed. I had hair back then. I had hair like Phil Collins.
Oh my god, you know what? I forgot that Discord even existed. I'm going to have to log on today so I can go and see that picture. Awful.
It's easily done. But yeah. Fantastic. So, shall we do our bingo?
Yeah, let's go for it. Let's do it.
So just a reminder to the viewers, if you want to join in with our Star Trek bingo of the episodes that we review, then you can go on the Discord. You can get a copy there, or you can message us and we can send it to you. But the way we score it is you get 1 point for ticking a box, and 5 points if you complete a full line of 5, either horizontally, vertically, or diagonally. So there's a total of 85 points available. If you get 65 or more on a single episode, then do let us know. Give us the timestamp for each box that you tick, and if we agree, if it's right, then you win a T-shirt that we still haven't designed yet.
We'll get there eventually.
And thank you, Paul. That's very, very nice of you to say. I look much older, but yeah, I still look great. Beardy, much more beardy these days, and bolder. Anyway, so shall we? Part 1.
How many did you get in total for part 1?
I got 10. I was quite impressed.
I got 8.
I got a lot. Some of mine are really tenuous. So I am expecting that number to go down.
Okay, so how many did you get on the first row?
I got 3 on the first row.
Ooh, I got 4.
You got 4?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the first one, I think, is fairly
Every
obvious.
time. That is the permanent technobabble. Yeah, I did not tick off Turbo Lift Conversation, but then I did have Red Alert. I mean, that was the first one, I think. They go into Red Alert pretty quickly in the episode.
Yes, they do. No, I couldn't see a single Turbo Lift Conversation in the entire episode. I was looking for them.
Yeah.
That means you've got particle causes problems.
Yes. So this is my tenuous one, because I felt like it depends if you class the cells from 8476 as particles, because they infect Harry Kim and that causes a problem.
I see where you're coming from. I always think of the particles a bit more like radiation particles. What do you think, viewers?
On the bingo sheet, it doesn't specify what kind of particle. So
that's very true. A rock could be a particle. No, that's fair comment. And then we both got the space anomaly.
Space anomaly, yeah, with the interference that prevents them from creating a warp field.
Yes, I forgot about that when I was thinking about the Northwest Passage.
Oh, well,
that was my tenuous one.
Recently.
Which is tenuous, but yes, of course they can't. Yes, that works. That works perfectly. So on this second row, how many did you get?
I got 2.
Oh, I got 3. Although one is tenuous.
What's your tenuous one? Let's start off with the tenuous one first.
The first one, transporter malfunction.
Oh, okay. To be fair, it does malfunction, doesn't it? And B'Elanna has to try and latch on to their bone minerals to transport them over.
It's caused by bioelectric interference.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I've made a skeletal lock.
Yes, that's
is it skeletal? Why is it skeletal when you don't say skeletons?
I don't know, Stu. We speak English, the language that makes the least sense. So
that's very true. That's very, very true. We've probably got the same 2 for the other 2 on this row.
Yeah. Conference room conversation and then particle fixes problem.
No, we haven't. We've got 2. We've both got the conference room because that was used a lot in this episode. I don't have particle fixes problem. Oh, what's your one on that?
Because the Doctor was using the nanoprobes to heal Harry Kim.
Right, so the nanoprobes are the particles.
Yeah, but it's tenuous. It's whether you would class them as particles or not.
That's one for the listeners and viewers to decide. Let us know in the chat. Mine.
What's your other one?
Might be tenuous, but I don't know. The more I think about it, the more it's kind of it's quite good. Aliens are a metaphor for human issues, and I see the Borg as a metaphor for the westernization of other cultures.
That's actually a really good point. I've never thought about it like that.
I hadn't till watching it, and I was trying to come up with a way of making them a metaphor.
How can I score more on bingo? Yeah, no, fair enough. I would agree with that, actually. Now that you've said it, I can see it.
Cool. Middle row, how many did you get on that?
1.
I got 2.
Did you have expendable crew member?
I did.
Yeah.
And is it the same one, I wonder?
Who was yours about?
The Doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're like, we just delete you, no biggie.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to think, is this episode before or after they have basically the EMH rights episodes?
Oh, I can't remember.
I think it's before.
I think it is, yeah. I think it is before. Because 7 of 9 is in that one, isn't she?
She is, yes, because there's a metaphor for her and the Doctor and yeah. But yeah, that was a bit oh right, would you do that to Harry Kim? Well, yes, probably.
Definitely to Harry Kim, yeah.
Well, yeah. Would she do that to Chakotay?
I would not, no. He's not expendable. I need him.
I don't like him.
Part of the reason I love this episode so much is because of the real genuine connection that Janeway and Chakotay have, and then the absolute wrenching apart of that when they have such differing opinions on their alliance with the Borg. It breaks my heart because you just see them stood opposite each other, and she's like, what did she say? 3 years ago, I didn't even know your name. And today I can't imagine a day without you. And I was watching it this morning and I just started crying. I was like, why did they never get married? And then they have this massive argument, and the whole Scorpion parable spiel that Chakotay does, and I love it so much. No, he's definitely non-expendable.
I like their dynamic, but I find, as a character, I find he's a bit of a trope, and also Robert Beltran.
Hey, look, say what you want about the man, but he was a sexy, sexy human being. He really was.
I'll take your word for it.
Thanks.
Okay,
what was
I can see that. I can see that. That's fair enough. So both got expendable crew member. Aliens almost exactly like humans. Vulcans are, in appearance, almost exactly like humans. They've just got pointed ears and funny eyebrows. Galanas, almost exactly. Kess.
See, I thought I just didn't put the crew into that. I would never have considered using them like that, because we haven't used that square for episodes of other Trek that we've done.
We haven't, and I'm thinking we've been missing a trick.
Yeah, no, I think we have. Okay, well, go on then. I'm going to rinse that one in the future, though.
Oh yeah, totally. Fourth line.
None.
Same here.
Zilch.
Same here. Not a single one. And that gives us the last line, the fifth line.
Over-explanation?
Oh, always. Always.
Anything else?
And yeah, I got one more. And now this is really bloody tenuous. Really tenuous. But energy beings.
See, I considered this one as well. Oh.
Is the Doctor an energy being?
I mean, he's a hologram, so he's made of light. Is light energy?
It's made of photonic particles. Oh, there's your particles fixer's problem. The Doctor cures Kim. Yeah, because I mean, there's that whole thing when I forget which episode it is when they talk about Paris and has that thing is like slap me, and you know his hand goes straight through, and then the Doctor slaps Paris. So if he's not a physical being, is he an energy being? Because he's still a being, even if he's not tangible.
Yeah, okay, you can have that one. Okay, right, so listen up, everyone who's watching. If you want to get one that gets you 65 points, watch an episode of Voyager, because all of these tips that Stu's just used, you can use that to your advantage, I'm sure of it.
I'm sure. I don't think that would apply to every single episode with the holodeck, because most holodeck characters are not sentient. I'm only counting the Doctor because I see him as being sentient. But like Moriarty from the Next Gen episodes would count as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, there we go. So slightly tenuous, but there we go. What about part two?
Stu wins episode 1. And let's see about episode 2.
We all win because we enjoy watching it.
Right. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 8 again, but different ones.
I got
this time.
11, some of which are the same.
If I can quickly add some on, considering everything that you've just told me, let's see how many I would have there.
Yeah, go for it.
1. I can add on 2. Maybe this one.
Yes, Captain Quinn, but Data is a physical being. He wouldn't count as an energy being.
Oh yeah, he's actually
he's a physical being, whereas the Doctor isn't physical necessarily. That's my it is tenuous, and I get that.
Okay, I've got 12.
12, fantastic. So how many on the top line?
3.
Oh, I got the 2.
Oh.
Is your particle causes problems in there again?
No.
Okay, because you could have nanoprobes. Nanoprobes.
Have you got that one in this one?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, if we're learning from the first episode, then I've got 4 on the first row.
Excellent.
Technobabble. I did not have a turbo lift conversation again.
No, I didn't either.
But then I got all the others. So red alert, particle causes problem, and then space anomaly.
Okay, what's the space anomaly in this one?
The fluidic space thing.
Oh, is that an anomaly or just their normal space?
Well, it is an anomaly to the crew of Voyager because it's something they've never experienced. And to them, it will be an anomaly on this occasion. They've never seen it before.
Yeah. But yes, you would get... sorry, just responding to Captain Quinn. You would get the Doctor in every Voyager episode. That's very true. But Data is an artificial life form. That doesn't make him an energy being. And we haven't got artificial life form on the bingo. Yeah, okay. So fluidic space is a space anomaly. What about the second row?
Got 4 again.
4. I've got 3.
What were your 3?
Transporter malfunction again.
Oh my god, okay. Well, then I've got 5.
So that means you've got 10 points for this row. Our first 10-pointer, wow. The Borg scattering field causes a transporter malfunction. Aliens are a metaphor for human issues, same Borg.
Yeah, I checked that one off this time. I did have a good reason for it. It was something to do with 7 of 9. I can't remember why I chose it, but I'll go with that.
Okay. Genes work like mine, and now I almost ticked this, and then I rubbed it out again.
I ticked off Gene's work like magic because when they remove 7 of 9's link to the Borg collective, and she's just magically regenerating, I was like, come on now.
That's a good point. I was looking at Harry because actually I had it ticked for the first one and then rubbed it out for exactly the same reason, which was Harry's infection and cure. Suddenly sprouting tendrils because your genes have been infected. Not quite buying that. But okay. Conference room conversation, obviously.
Yeah, there's a big
Lots
one in
of
there.
that. And particle fixers. Is this nanoprobes again?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that's, gosh, that gives you. How many points does that give you now then?
1, 2, 3, 4. 19.
19 points. Excellent. Middle row. Aliens almost like humans.
Yeah.
I got 2 as well, and same one. Expendable. The Doctor again.
Yeah, that's what I did as well.
Cool. 4th row.
I put 1 maybe because I remembered, like I was saying to you before we went live, actually, I'll explain to everyone. I forgot to watch the second episode of this. And so while I was putting on my Detmer makeup, I watched it on Netflix in 1.5 speed so I could finish it before we went live. So that meant I was like trying to absorb the show like super quick. And so I remember them mentioning the warp core or doing something near the warp core, but I couldn't remember what they were doing. So I highlighted warp core almost blows up, but I can't remember if it actually does. So you can tell me if that's right or wrong.
I don't remember anything happening to the warp core.
No, I think I remember they were talking about going into warp and coming out of warp. And I remember a scene where B'Elanna's like running around the warp core to do something. And I couldn't really remember what was going on. So I'll get rid of that one then.
Captain Quinn said they couldn't use warp in fluidic space.
Okay, so that's a non...
But I had one from that line, which is main deflector fixes problem.
Does it?
Because they used the main deflector to create the spatial fissure through which they travelled to and from fluidic space. So it fixed the problem by getting them out of fluidic space.
There you go. Excellent.
Cool. And the last line.
2 for me.
3.
Over-explanation, as always. Oh, we had 3.
Always, yeah. Always with the over-explanation. Did you get energy beings again with the Doctor?
Yeah, I put that on because of our discussion with the Doctor, yeah.
No, I wondered if this one might cause a bit of a discussion or debate. I've got Prime Directive gets broken.
See, I did wonder if this might come up. They never mention it, but it comes down to whether or not we know or not if 8472R have warp technology.
Doesn't matter because the Prime Directive's in non-interference, and as the Borg are not part of the Federation, they're sharing technology with them.
But doesn't it only count if the people they're sharing technology with haven't reached warp capability yet?
My understanding is no, although that would be included as part of it.
Right, okay. Okay then, wow.
It's interference with the natural development of an alien culture, which I think sharing technology with the Borg is.
Yeah. Debatable about whether they actually have culture or not, or whether they've just...
I would say they are a culture, an artificial culture, but a culture nonetheless.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Not a nice one.
And it's not really their own culture either, is it? It's just stolen from everyone they've assimilated, or just intelligence, I guess, is their culture and knowledge and that kind of stuff.
Well, the drive for perfection.
Yeah.
Could be seen as part of that. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Cool. How about everyone viewing? What did you get? Did you do the bingo? If not, why not?
Amazing.
Excellent. Shall we go to some trivia?
Yes, let's do the trivia.
Okay, so starting with part 1 of Scorpion. First bit of trivia is, I love this one. Yeah. The pile of dismembered Borg seen on the disabled cube was actually a 12-inch pile of Playmates Toys action figures.
I think that's amazing, because can you imagine just working in the props department and your job for that day is to make a little pile of dead bodies out of action figures? I'd love that.
It's a dream come true.
Next up, we have this episode is the first time more than one Borg cube has ever been seen on screen. You see a whole bunch of them, don't you? Like flying past. There's more than 5, because I know they count 5, and then there's just more and more of them, isn't there?
15, Harry announces eventually, because he keeps adjusting his total. But yeah, he gets up to 15. I don't know if you see 15, but that's how many he says there is. Yeah, and I remember when it first came out, so dramatic, like, because one Borg cube is bad, but my goodness, several Borg cubes, how are they ever going to survive this?
Yeah, and then they just fly past, and it's like, oh, you're not important. See ya.
Yeah.
I reckon Janeway was actually a bit insulted about that, and that's why she wanted to fight so hard, because she was like, how dare you not try and kill me? I'm important. Did you not know?
Yeah, don't you know who I am? Fantastic. This episode has one of the shortest teasers in Star Trek at just under 20 seconds, and with only a single unfinished line of dialogue spoken by the Borg.
Excellent. The robot that the holographic Leonardo da Vinci is working on is based on a real work that Leonardo da Vinci created. The Hephaestus arm.
The hand of Mephistus. Was it? It's arm. Yeah. For blacksmiths. I don't imagine it'd have that much power behind it, though.
Yeah, that looked a bit slow and a bit flimsy, but it makes sense though, because Hephaestus is the Greek god who had a malformed leg, and he created all the weapons for the Greek gods. So he was a blacksmith god. God
of the forge. And this is the final appearance of Jennifer Lien as Kes, as a regular cast member, although she appears obviously in part 2 and the episode The Gift, but she was starring in those, not regular.
And she comes back much later on, doesn't she, in Fury, as old Kes?
Oh, Fury, yes. Yes, I'd forgotten Fury. Yes, she does.
That always stuck with me, that episode, because I was like, after treating her so badly and axing her from the show, how did they manage to get her to come back?
I don't think her career did brilliantly after Voyager.
No.
She probably hasn't helped herself much either when you look into her personal life. But yeah. Let's move on from that.
That's a whole episode in itself.
Oh. Actually, we could do a whole episode on people's faux pas.
Trek stars gone wrong.
Trek stars gone wrong. Do you know what? I am putting that totally in the planner after.
So, episode 2, Scorpion Part 2 trivia. From this episode onwards, the screen credits for the cast were modified to remove the ranks of their characters, except for Kate Mulgrew / Captain Janeway, which I thought was odd. Why would they do that?
Maybe that was part of her contract.
That no one gets recognition except her?
Well, when you think about, she was the main focus of the entire show, and then they brought in 7 of 9, who kind of knocked her off that perch a little bit. Some sort of reminder that, she is the captain. It's her show.
Yeah. We do have tits and ass now, but I'm still the captain, okay?
So I can, because from what I understand, there were quite a few feathers ruffled around that time.
Yeah, I feel like I've read a lot into this, and I've watched a few interviews, and I don't think Kate Mulgrew was very nice to Jerry Ryan at all.
No.
For a long time, and it took them a long time until after Voyager had finished for them to talk about it and make friends. So lots of tension there. That makes sense.
We can include that in Star Trek Actors Gone Wrong.
That's going to be a fun episode.
Paul has said in the chat, it'll last for hours. It really will.
Especially if we include the producers as well.
Oh yeah. Well, we'd have to talk about Berman.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And Roddenberry was questionable about some things as well.
Oh God.
Yeah. I'm wondering if it's a good idea or if we would end up getting sued. Anyway, back to the trivia. When 7 of 9 tells Janeway and Tuvok about the multikinetic neutronic mine, the visual diagram displays a model that has the exact same configuration as the Renegade Borg vessel from the Next Generation episode Descent.
Very nice. And the flashback scenes of this episode that feature the young Annika Hansen and her parents were not scripted.
Kudos to the editors for that.
Yeah.
Excellent. So enjoyable. I enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed rewatching it. Like I say, every time I've watched it, I've enjoyed it that little bit more.
I will always love this two-parter, and whenever I do my Voyager watch-throughs again, this is the one I always look forward to the most. I think this, and oddly, Workforce. The one where they're like working in that facility and they can't remember who they are. Scorpion and Workforce for some reason are my faves.
Now, this might sound a bit odd, but I've actually made a note when you've said in the past about what your favourite episode is. And I'm going
to...
Resolution! Yes, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
I do love Resolutions. Yeah. That's purely from my little shipper heart perspective of Janeway and Chakotay. I feel like it's a beautiful episode, but it could have worked on any sort of science fiction show with two characters who could be in love stranded on a planet or a desert island or anything. But Scorpion's very specific to Trek, and that story couldn't work anywhere
else. Mentioning shipping, that's reminded me of something I was going to ask you about a couple of weeks ago. Because you put a post on Twitter about when anybody asks you what your favourite ship in Star Trek is, you automatically think the Enterprise. You know, not Kirk or Spock or, you know.
Yeah.
But now, and I asked you, well, why not Voyager, surely? And you said there's a very good reason for it, and you'd tell me on air.
Yeah, so as much as I love Voyager, I feel like the ship itself isn't as advanced as the Enterprise. And I know, like, sort of, you've got the sort of the bio gel packs, and you know, by the end of it, they've got some sort of Borg technology in there, and they've sort of renovated the ship to their own spec. But I feel like the actual Enterprise itself, especially the one in Next Gen, has got much greater capabilities. It's more iconic, and it's bigger, better, I think.
Well, it's a different purpose, ultimately. Voyager, I think I'm remembering this right, is effectively a scout ship.
Yeah.
Whereas the Enterprise D was much more multi-purpose. It could be a warship, it could be a fleet carrier, it could be, you know, all these different things.
Yeah.
I know I saw Voyager as much more advanced technologically.
I think. I feel like, although Voyager is my favourite series of Trek, and I will, you know, love it until my dying breath, but I do feel like the Enterprise was a better ship overall.
Okay. Or maybe if they sort of did some kind of merger between Voyager and the Enterprise D, that would be your ultimate ship.
Yeah. Hybrid ship.
Yeah.
Voyager Prize.
Integer. There you go. USS Integer. Integer. I don't know. Anyway.
Love it.
Captain Quinn says the Enterprise D was a luxury hotel. It was the Love Boat in space. Totally.
The detachable section that only gets used like twice.
Now oh no, it was used more than twice.
Was it in Next Generation?
Yeah, but they used it in Encounter at Farpoint. They used it in Best of Both Worlds. They used it in other episodes, I'm sure, and of course in Generations.
In the films. I've not watched the films since I was a very young child, so I can't really.
Oh, well, we need to revisit those for some reviews then, don't we? Excellent. Right, shall we do a deep dive on the Borg?
Yeah, let's do it.
Because I love the Borg. Now, the Borg represented a new antagonist and regular enemy, obviously during Next Generation, which had been lacking during the first season. The Klingons were allies, the Romulans were mostly absent. Now, the Ferengi, I think we've mentioned this on a previous episode, were originally intended to be the new big bads for the United Federation, but their comical appearance failed to portray them as a convincing threat. The Borg, however, with their frightening appearance, their immense power, and their sinister motive, became the signature villains for the Next Generation and Voyager eras of Trek.
Next Generation writers began to develop the idea of the Borg as early as season 1 episode Conspiracy, which introduced a coercive symbiotic life form that took over key Federation personnel. Plans to feature the Borg as an increasingly menacing threat were subsequently scrapped in favor of a more subtle introduction, beginning with the mystery of missing colonies on both sides of the neutral zone, and culminating in the encounter between Borg and the Enterprise crew in Q Who.
Now, the origin of the Borg is never made clear canonically, though they are portrayed as having existed for hundreds of thousands of years. Now, Guinan attests to this, as does the Borg Queen. In Star Trek First Contact, the Borg Queen merely states that the Borg were once much like humanity, flawed and weak, but gradually developed into a partially synthetic species in an ongoing attempt to evolve and perfect themselves.
In Next Generation's Q Who, Guinan mentions that the Borg are made up of organic and artificial life, which has been developing for thousands of centuries. In a later episode of Star Trek Voyager, Dragon's Teeth, Gedrin of the race of the Vordor says that before he and his people were put into suspended animation 892 years earlier, so 1482 AD, the Borg had assimilated only a few colonies in the Delta Quadrant and were considered essentially a minor nuisance. Now awake in the 24th century, he is amazed to see that the Borg control a vast area of the Delta Quadrant. 7 of 9 comments that the Borg's collective memories of that time period are fragmentary, though it is never established why that is.
So it sounds like that's conflicting information. They're either less than 1,000 years old or they're thousands of years old. But I think that both can be true if they came from somewhere other than the Delta Quadrant.
Yeah.
But that was just them sort of dipping into the Delta Quadrant initially.
Yeah, and I feel like we touched on the origins of the Borg as a sort of a fan theory or something that was supposed to be part of their canon when we watched the film with the ship Voyager, and it was mentioned, that the people, what happened when they sort of became part of it at the end of that film, and we talked about that. Yeah, they merged, and that we talked about how that could have been sort of to do with the origins of the Borg, and it was never like canonized, and I think it was just a theory, and it still is really, but I like that idea that they stemmed from some sort of mishap to do with us and to do with what human beings have done.
Yes, well, William Shatner's novel does expound on that. So it's part of beta canon, but obviously that's not alpha canon. So I mean, in beta canon they come up quite a lot. The World Killer Doomsday Machine from the original series in beta canon was there to defeat the Borg, for example. Or the machine world that Voyager came from might have been the Borg planet or something like that. But what about you? What do you think are the actual origins of the Borg?
I don't know. I speculate on these things quite a lot, but I've never really came up with like a firm idea in my mind, except that perhaps they were just a regular alien species, similar to humans, that decided they'd be better off with a collective consciousness and found the technology somehow to connect themselves, and through doing that sort of felt that they had become enlightened and decided that they would help other species by assimilating them into their collective consciousness, and sort of it spiraled out of control, and then you get the Borg as we see them in the show. That to me that makes the most sense, that it was just another species and that they weren't human but were similar to humans and ended up as these sort of technological enhanced life forms that want to save everybody by adding them to our own unique perfection, or whatever the spiel is they reel off before they assimilate someone.
I definitely agree. I can see them almost like as a future of humanity where it is now, and our own current technological advancements to enhance to. I think the consciousness thing will probably come much later, though, because we're already talking about putting chips in our brains so we can access the internet. I think that mass consciousness would actually arise from that sort of technology anyway.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, in that context, a collective consciousness would be beneficial. And you know, there's so much misunderstanding that goes on in our communications, and you know, there are still wars going on across the globe, and these things would be eradicated if we all had that deeper insight into what we're thinking and feeling. And I don't know.
They would, but what would we lose in order to get that?
Yeah. I'm not like pro Borg. Anyone who's watching, no. Oh my God, Keira wants us to be the Borg. No, I'm not saying that. I appreciate where they're coming from when they say that their collective consciousness has sort of saved them or whatever. No,
I agree. I mean, so many of the world's problems would be quite easily solved if we could just spend some time in each other's heads. Totally get it. But I also think if you're talking sort of mass consciousness, I don't know, we'd lose our soul, we'd lose our individuality.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'd hate that.
I've spent my whole life actively trying not to be like everyone else, and so if I was suddenly put into collective consciousness and was forced to be exactly the same, I would be like, wow, this is great.
I used to have a T-shirt that said, "You laugh at me because I'm different. I laugh at you because you're not."
Yeah, I've got this really strong memory from when I was in college. So I must have been about 17 or 18, and for some goddamn unknown reason, the fashion at the time was to wear these like peanut butter coloured trousers. Peanut butter coloured jeans. They were like a weird beige colour. And I swear to God, nearly every single girl in my college was wearing these jeans. And I would just look at them walking around in the exact same outfits, looking all the same, and just thinking, do you not have any sense of individuality? Like, do you really just want to look the same as everyone else? And I never bought them. I would never wear those kind of clothes. And no one ever like commented on my clothes, but obviously people can wear what they want, and if they're happy, whatever. But that's my worst nightmare, to look the same as everybody else.
Do you know what I've just dug out on my wardrobe and put into my rotation?
What?
I'll show you if you keep everyone entertained for just a moment. Hi B Daddy, great to see you here. I'll be back in a second.
That Stu's going to go to his wardrobe and pull out a pair of peanut butter coloured jeans. I'm going to feel really bad. Oh dear, Kira's put her foot in it again. This is the exact kind of thing that always happens to me. I always just start saying random stuff, and then I insult
You do
people.
not need to feel bad at all, but...
Oh no, they're fine. They're like khaki. That's khaki. And also, like,
what's
they're
the
not...
difference?
No, like the jeans they were
slightly
wearing...
stretchy.
They look nice, Stu. They're not the same. Yeah. And there was actually nothing wrong with the jeans they were wearing. It was just the fact that every girl was wearing the same jeans. It just was a bit weird. But, you know, each to their own, except in that situation, it's each to everyone else's. But, you know, it's just my opinion.
It's just when you say, like, I was 17, 18 years... I mean, that's 10 years ago, obviously.
Oh God, now I feel old. Thanks a bunch, Stu.
No, wardrobe-wise, that's nothing. So, literally, right, so, true story of this, I spent some time working in Nationwide, the bank. And we were on a team, small team of about 5 of us, and I was sat next to this young lady. And every Friday was casual dress day. During the week, I'd mentioned about these cowboy boots I have. For some reason, I don't know why. And they all said, like, oh, you got to wear them on Friday. So I did. And then, like, got in, because I'd had these cowboy boots since the age of 18. And I made a joke saying, oh, these cowboy boots are probably older than you, I said to her. And then I realised they were.
Yeah.
That depressed me. Anyway.
You know what? I actually have a pair of cowboy boots that my mum bought me from America for my 16th birthday. So, because anyone who's watching who has any children 11 or younger, I have a pair of cowboy boots, older.
Well, Ed's in the chat, and he's got a daughter, Grace, and he said thank you for the T-shirt from Grace. More than welcome, Grace. Thank you for your suggestion on Aliens Explored. But Grace is a bit young, I think.
I've just seen another comment in the chat saying that I would hate the military. Absolutely right. I despise the fact that we even need a military. So I also hate the fact they all have to wear the same clothes, except for the fact there's a very small part of my brain that loves a man in uniform, and I hate myself for it, but they do.
Well, they're smart. You know, they're form-fitting, and yeah, there's nothing wrong with appreciating someone being smart. I mean, would you say the same about a guy in a tuxedo?
Maybe not a
No.
tux.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. It's that, you know, like a military uniform or like a fireman. Police, not so much. A cab. I'm kidding. I did not say that on live. Or like a doctor. I don't know. That kind of uniform. Not a tux.
Authority figures.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Knowledgeable people who are experts in their field.
And take control of situations.
Yeah, fine. Also, if I have a heart attack or a stroke one day and I'm dating a doctor, sorted. I'm fine.
Yeah. Absolutely. No judgment here whatsoever.
BE Daddy has just said convicts wear uniform. That they do.
It's very
and
true.
I wouldn't say no to an orange jumpsuit either. Like,
well, orange is the new black. Right. So back onto the Borg. That's a hell of a digression we went down.
Oh yeah, if you're playing a drinking game, Keira and Stu digress. Take a sip.
If you're playing a drinking game, you should now be very drunk. So, what's your favourite Borg moment from all the series, all the movies?
It's hard not to love the whole Locutus of Borg thing, because that is amazing, and that's quite that was quite a groundbreaking moment for Trek, I think, just to show a captain in such a way. But I do love Seven of Nine, losing her connection to the collective and refinding her humanity. And I think in the very early episodes of season 4 of Voyager, when she's so vulnerable and just broken, that's also something new that we haven't seen of the Borg until that point. And I think that's quite a touching moment to see someone clawing at what they know, but also trying to regain their humanity. I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, it's got to be best of both worlds. The assimilation of Jean-Luc. Yeah, totally. I mean, they changed the Borg up quite a bit. Prior to that, they were only interested in technology, but for story and writing reasons, they suddenly became assimilating people. But yeah, that's definitely up there. Possibly also the partial assimilation of Data.
I don't really remember that much.
From First Contact.
Oh, that'll be why I don't really remember it.
He has the human skin grafted to his arm and half his face.
I'm going to need to watch all of those.
Excellent. Well, we will do it. Cool. And Q's relationship with the Borg. I wanted to raise this because it struck me as quite odd when you've got Q Jr. and Q's chastising him, and he tells him off and says, Do not provoke the Borg. And he says it with such vehemence. Is Q scared of the Borg?
I don't think Q is scared of anything, but I do think that Q wants baby Q to understand the gravity of what the Borg can do, and know that I don't know. I don't think he's scared of them, but I think he respects them and what they've accomplished.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's an interesting take on Q, because I think he's immensely frightened. That kind of arrogance can only come from a fear of being ignored.
True. And actually, there was a little bit of, the only time I've thought that Q was a little bit frightened or on edge was when he came face to face with Guinan. The whole moment. And actually, if Guinan's race was sort of dispersed by the Borg, then if there's something more powerful than the what is it, Elorians, that her race that she's from, then perhaps Q would be a little bit on edge by that.
I've heard a theory, and this makes much more sense to me, is that Guinan isn't really an Elorian. She is a something else, possibly interdimensional or Q-like being that has taken Elorian form and lived amongst them for a long time.
That's interesting.
That kind of makes more sense, because the Elorians, apart from being, empathic people, good listeners, they're just like humans. Well, long-lived humans, but yeah. So I like that theory that Guinan is something a bit more.
Yeah.
She's not just an Elorian, she just happens to be amongst them.
Yeah, I like that. She's quite a special character, isn't she? You wouldn't just get any old person to play Guinan. They've got Whoopi Goldberg, so she's got to have some sort of edge to her. That's cool. I like that. If
you're going to tend bar on the Enterprise D, you've got to be godlike. That's a given.
You've got to put up with all the drunkenness and Riker's ridiculous flirting with every woman on board.
Yeah. Captain Quinn says the Elorians could all be Q-like beings, but then Soren would have been easily able to re-enter the Nexus if that were the case. Whoopi did ask for a role. Yeah, big Trekkie. Fantastic. Ned says presumably she was assigned to observe that species when the Borg came through. Could be. There's definitely some fan fiction in there to be had, I think.
Love it.
And we'll never know. Are you still planning on doing a Guinan cosplay for when we go to Chicago?
I forgot about that. I would love to, but I feel like the fact it's taken me so long to make half a Batleth means that I probably won't get my Arachnia costume done very quickly either. In which case, I think I maybe should not take on the task of creating a Guinan outfit, because I don't want to give myself too much work. So, you know what I'm like. I'm so slow at getting anything done because I'm such a busy person. So maybe not Guinan.
You are.
Maybe not for Chicago, but it's on the list and I will do it one day.
Excellent. Look forward to that hat.
I do love Guinan.
That's pretty much it, isn't it? It's a long robe, like kaftan, basically. Kaftan and a big disked hat.
Love it.
Yeah. Excellent. Right, shall we take a dip into the Divine Treasury?
Yes, please. I'm so excited to see what you've got for us this week.
So, this week, it is one of my Eagle Moss models. It is one of the very, very first Eagle Moss models that I got, because it was released as a free gift to subscribers, although now it's available through the online shop. And here we have it, the Borg Cube. Now, this is not a die-cast model, like so many others in the Eagle Moss collection. This is entirely plastic, or plastic and wiring, but it does... Oh, that's not... that is glowing green. There. But, yeah, it's about 150 centimetres across and back and high, as you would expect from a cube. And it's almost the same on every side. It's not, to me, it's not very screen accurate. It's more like a representation of what it's supposed to be, but
yeah,
it's not too bad. They did, instead of this one for the UK and America, they did a different one by D'Agostini for Japan. That was a bit small, about it was just a bit small, about 2/3 of the size. Much more screen accurate. But the trouble is, those are very rare to get hold of. You can only get them second hand now, and they run into the hundreds of pounds to buy.
madness.
Which I've been spending years trying to find one, and I just can't. One day I will. But yeah, so that was one of the it came, I think, with the third delivery on the subscription. So the third Eagle Moss Starship I ever got, this came as well, and it's still on the original batteries. There we go.
Wow.
That was 2013. There we go. Gosh, 8 years ago. Scary. So there we go. That's another one from the collection.
Love that.
Right. Shall we go to Trek News?
Trek news time! Yes. First up, we have some news to do with Alex Kurtzman. So contract has been extended by 5.5 years. There was 2 years left to go on a 5-year contract. Now we'll be heading up Trek projects through to 2026 at least, and that is worth $160 million, that deal. So congrats, Mr. Kurtzman.
So we know who to go for a loan. I love it. I think that's absolutely brilliant news. And where you've seen all these videos from, like, the Discovery haters, oh, Kurtzman's getting sacked and Discovery's getting cancelled. It's like, yeah, that's not the case.
Is it though? You know what? I've seen a lot of Discovery bashing recently, but I've also seen a lot of people really sticking up for it, and it warms my little Trekkie soul because, you know, people are like, oh, Discovery's got all this forced diversity and Discovery this and Discovery that, and how can they do this? And it's just like, why is it a problem? Why is it? Exactly. And I saw a comment that somebody made in Star Trek shit posting on Facebook, and they said in the original series, so back in the like 60s and whatever, they would have to stand Nichelle Nichols in her scenes next to Kirk so that her scenes wouldn't get deleted.
Yeah.
They're creating this opportunity for minorities that is needed. We need the representation, and this is the way we go about it. Trek has always been a pioneer for diversity. You know, one of the key mottos is infinite diversity and infinite combinations. Of course there's going to be diversity in Trek. They have always strived for diversity, from the point of putting a Black woman in a central role in the original series, you know, and making sure she's next to the main character so nobody can delete her scenes, right? This has always been the point of Trek. And if people don't understand that, then what have they been watching? Have they been paying attention?
Totally.
Anyway.
And it was, I mean, not just Nichelle. Oh, I'm totally in agreement with you, because it wasn't just Nichelle Nichols. I mean, obviously Nichelle was a major part, but having a Russian on the bridge. You know, this was in the days of, you know, Reds under the bed, you know, commies everywhere and commies need to be killed. You know, to having a Russian on board, having, you know, Sulu.
Absolutely.
Yeah, huge diversity. But yeah, now, I mean, that's not to say everybody has to like Discovery. I think not liking it is fine. It's not going to be for everyone. but not liking it because it's woke or too much diversity. I mean, the ones that, like, obviously, people who say that, they are dicks. As simple as that.
I actually told Danny off for saying that the other day. And I was like, you haven't watched Discovery yet? And he was like, no, it's all this forced diversity. And I was like, you can't say that when you've not even watched it. And he was like, yeah, you're right. And I was like, I never want to hear you say that again. You need to watch it. And then we'll come back to this discussion. Oh, I was so angry.
And the ones that get me, aside from that, are the ones that say, oh, Michael's crying all the time. Like, fuck you, people have emotions. They're allowed to express emotions.
Right. And every now and then she cries, but it's not like a cry. It's like she'll have a tear rolling down her cheek. It's like, that's normal. Humans cry.
If I'd been through what she's been through, I'd be sobbing my heart out.
I would be having daily breakdowns. She's holding it together mighty fine. Well done, Michael Burnham.
I sobbed my heart out watching Discovery, so, you know.
I cried watching Scorpion Part 1, so there you go.
Oh. Yeah. Quite right too. So yeah, so good old Alex Kurtzman. Love it, and we'll have more of it. And do you know what? We might come up with a new Trek series that I don't like. I might not like Prodigy, for example. But that's fine, because we'd rather have a wide community where we have lots and lots of diversity in the audience as well. So yeah, I'm all for it.
And yeah, like you said, you know, if people dislike Discovery for genuine reasons, by all means, hold your opinion, but just find a real reason for it, not diversity.
Yeah. Don't dish the diversity. Right, moving on to the next bit of news then. Lower Decks. Oh, I am so excited for this. And this comes to where you viewers can help guide us. Because episode 1 of season 2 of Lower Decks drops this coming Friday the 13th of August. It's going to be here in the UK on Amazon Prime. We won't have to wait for months and months and months for it to come over here. So very excited. There's going to be a weekly episode. So rather than dropping them all 10 in one go, we're going to have one episode a week. The question is, do we discuss the episodes on a Sunday after they've dropped? Because that might be spoilers for some people.
Yeah, I don't think we should do it the week after they've dropped. I feel like we should, continue with the plan we've got for now, and then drop in some Lower Decks episodes somewhere down the line after everyone's had a chance to watch them. Because I'd hate for us to spoil it for people.
Yes, I agree. Or maybe after all 10 have dropped, we can do an entire episode looking back on the series.
We could. If you're up for that, people watching, let us know. And if you would like to watch us do an entire series review on Lower Decks, maybe we can do that.
Yeah, or I can do sort of an intro video thing saying, we're now going to talk about Lower Decks, so you can put it on mute. That would be another option. There are all sorts of options there. So do let us know what you think, what you would like to see. I'm liking the idea of, not talk about it until the entire series is finished.
We can drop hints about our opinions and then leave a little trail of breadcrumbs for people.
We could. I mean, you can definitely expect for the next 10 weeks, certainly me, and probably Keira as well, to go, oh my God, wasn't that so good? That was brilliant. Loved it. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. Yeah. Absolutely. Expect that for the next 10 weeks. Next
up in Trek news this week, we have more from Prodigy. So Viacom CBS has announced a new partnership with Sky, which is part of Comcast, that will bring the Paramount Plus streaming service to Sky platforms in the UK, Ireland, Italy, Germany, Switzerland and Austria in 2022. Paramount Plus will become available as part of the Sky Q service and be included with Sky Cinema packages at no additional cost. Other Sky customers will be able to subscribe to Paramount Plus as an add-on option. Paramount Plus will also be available direct to consumer in UK, Ireland, Italy, Germany, Switzerland, and Austria through the Paramount Plus app for iOS and Android across supported smart TVs and streaming devices. Prodigy will be part of this Paramount Plus Originals exclusive content.
How do you feel about that?
I feel like Trek has sort of spread themselves thin in terms of what streaming services they're using to broadcast their shows. It would be nice if they could all be in one place. It would be nice if, I know this is an animated series, so perhaps they could have just put that on Amazon Prime with Lower Decks. The rest of their stuff is on Netflix, so I don't see the need to put it on Paramount Plus. It's frustrating that I'm either going to have to get a new subscription or I'm going to have to do something naughty to watch it. But, well, it is what it is. I, again, don't have a say in what they do. So, well.
No. I'm a bit pissed off because, yeah, like you, I got my Netflix, I got my Amazon Prime, I paid for my TV license, you know. To have to buy another one. And certainly I'm not getting Sky. That is ridiculously expensive.
No, I would never have Sky. I mean, I don't even watch an actual TV. I only ever watch stuff on my laptop, on Netflix. That's all I ever do. I don't watch anything else, or Netflix or Amazon Prime, or occasionally my best friend's Disney Plus account. But I don't watch TV. I don't have a TV license. I'm never going to get Sky. So.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to subscribe to Now TV. I can see myself doing that. Yeah, and I think Captain Quinn, that means you've got Now TV. Yeah, and Captain Quinn says maybe sail the the high seas are. I don't support pirating. We've discussed this so many times now, haven't we? Mm-hmm. I'm not a vet. Maybe being in the industry plays a part in that.
Oh yeah, all those royalties you get, Stu.
Yeah, I don't get many these days, that's for sure. So buyouts now, but no, the money needs to go back into pay for new projects. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. Anyway, right. Other news. Modiphius, the creators of Star Trek Adventures, the role-playing game. They've just announced 7 new items coming to the Star Trek Adventures range. We're getting 3 new die sets, and I am absolutely convinced they have been watching the Star Trek Adventures stream that we do, and they've seen the designs that Matt's done, because they're doing exactly the same with different colours for divisions, red, yellow and blue. There's also going to be new players and GM guides, as well as a campaign guide to the Shackleton Expanse. And the big one that I'm really looking forward to is the Tricorder Edition Collector's Box Set. It's done in the style of an old original series tricorder, but it is basically a GM travel kit. So yeah, looking forward to that. You can find more at modiphius.com.
Very interesting. Also announced this week was the Starfleet Academy TV series being in the early stages of development. It would be the 7th series currently in development, a show set at Starfleet Academy and aimed at a younger audience. No news in whether it's going to be live action or animated yet, but I feel like we've spoken in depth about a series like this before, and I feel like it's something that every Trek fan has thought about or wanted or just thought would be great. And yeah, it's going to be good, I feel, and it's going to be one of those things where you get a lot of younger actors in, so you're going to have your Wesley Crushers and your Naomi Wildman types in the Academy together, and I can't wait to see what sort of mischief they get up to.
It's kind of like Star Trek 90210.
I love it.
Sort of thing.
And I've been listening to the autobiography of Catherine Janeway recently, obviously narrated by Kate Mulgrew herself. And in that, she talks a lot about being at the academy. There's a whole chapter dedicated to it. And she talks about how in their graduation year, they always do like a prank. And I can just imagine, what they can do on TV these days, like how great that prank is going to be. So I'm hoping the Starfleet Academy class of 2022 or whenever it comes out are going to pull a massive prank, and we get to see that on TV. It'd be great.
It would be good, and it'd fill a nice little niche as well, because you've got Prodigy for young audiences. Lower Decks is obviously for a mature audience, absolutely, as is, I would say, Discovery and Picard. I think Section 31 will probably be a mature audience as well. And Strange New Worlds would be a bit of a one-size-fits-all. So something aimed at the young adult market. It's a missing gap. That said, early stages of development can mean anything.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it's even been greenlit or anything.
No. So, but we'll keep watching and we'll see, and we'll keep you all posted as we know more.
Yeah. And hey, maybe this Starfleet Academy series will be something that my mum will watch, because did I tell you, Stu? My mum has seen all of Discovery, and my mum doesn't watch Star Trek. How has my mum seen all of Discovery before me?
Well, she's obviously got taste and priorities.
Yeah, I was like, what have you been watching recently on Netflix, Mum? And she was like, oh, that thing with Michael. And I was like, Michael? And she was like, yeah, the woman called Michael. And I was like, Mum, have you been watching Star Trek Discovery? And she was like, oh, that's the one. I'm like, Mum, you hate Star Trek. And she's like, I like this one.
Has your mum watched Picard?
No.
Oh, I'd encourage you to watch Picard. I think if you like Discovery, you'll like Picard.
I'll get her on that, and I'll get her on the Starfleet Academy TV series when it comes out too.
And Lower Decks.
Oh, she wouldn't like that.
No? Why not?
It's a bit. I think the humour might be a bit lowbrow for my mum.
She's not one for the profanities.
I think she prefers more intelligent humour.
I think Lower Decks is intelligent. Maybe that just speaks to my own level of intelligence.
I mean, it is intelligent. The way they do it is intelligent, but it is quite lowbrow. And I feel like my mum, maybe not quite as lowbrow as that.
Excellent. Well, there's something for everyone in the Star Trek universe.
Exactly, for everyone.
Absolutely, except for the right-wing extremists, anti-woke brigade. They can just fuck off.
Agreed.
Anyway, on that wonderful, cheery note, shall we talk about what we're doing next time?
Absolutely. What are we doing next time, Stu?
Next time, I love the technical stuff. We are going to be doing a deep dive on photon torpedoes.
Excellent. We'll be discussing the Deep Space Nine episode, The Changing Face of Evil, as well as maybe the latest Lower Decks. We'll see.
Or maybe not. We will have to see. We will be paying another visit to the Divine Treasury, and will we be getting a Kira's cosplay update, do you think?
I think we might. Today I've purchased some more stuff for my Bat'leth, so if I get some time, I will make it happen.
Excellent.
As always, we'll be finishing off with the latest news from the Trekverse. So tune in next week to find out what else has been going on.
Indeed. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. This has been absolutely splendid. Join us on Wednesday for Star Trek Adventures, of course. That's all getting very exciting. But in the meantime, and until next week, peace and long life.
Live long and prosper.
Take care. Bye.